Hello, review family, goblins! I am back to bring you another video. Welcome back to the Metal Tempest. Today I will be covering the new record by Haken entitled Fauna. If you want to have some sort of debate on what bands have been the most well-respected, critically acclaimed, or become household names for people that frequent the prog genres, it's hard to not have Haken appear on the tip of your tongue in that debate. They've been working overtime to consistently release some of the most fun, at times relentless, and overall forward-thinking and beautiful prog records of the 2010s, becoming one of the leading forces and names in the genre altogether. And this record, much like their past works, is very Tool-esque. The theatrical and heartfelt and at times melodramatic vocals of Ross Jennings recalling Maynard James Keenan, whereas a lot of the staccato, dusty steel prog riffs just read like something that could have been off 10,000 Days. This thing is the people-pleasing type of prog record, but it is also one that doesn't take many risks because of that. It maybe gets muddied a bit in that lack of risk-taking too, and longtime fans and detractors alike might immediately take note of just how familiar the territory is that Haken is performing these songs in. Are there standouts? Absolutely. The delicate track Nightingale has just a great amount of musical chemistry on it. Or Eyes of Ebony, which is the beautiful nearly 10-minute closer and probably one of the most gorgeous songs lyrically that Haken have ever written. But this track listing suffers from what I would like to call the okay, but now what effect. They linger, for me at least, in the vein of so much momentum but not much payoff. And sadly, I think a solid chunk of the time, Haken will spend so much time on their time signatures and their intricate complexities and their Pink Floyd-led interlude odysseys and their winding labyrinth riffs, but not enough time making that payoff feel grand, especially on the longer cuts on this track listing. It's not hard to see nor assume the sections of these tracks that they want to have that it moment, but more often than not, I think that these it moments struggle to pay off in such a way that it makes the momentum that led up to it and the tension that led up to it feel memorable or meaningful. A good way that I would describe this record is it's a bit style over substance. So much focus on the technicality, so much focus on the sequences in which these tracks are composed, but nothing lasting powerfully enough to leave a lasting impact past its initial runtime. It also doesn't help at all that the times when they do take risks, it oftentimes doesn't pay off. When you have a track listing that doesn't take many risks, but when it does take a risk, it falls flat, that's an issue. The Alphabet of Me is a track I want to take note of. It's a very almost like drum and bass influenced track and very electronic, which this wouldn't be too off-putting considering Haken has played around with a ton of different electronics in the past. But the scant electronics provide little more than just wallpaper. The pseudo-rapping that Ross pulls off here is not only borderline grating, but almost comical. Are there things to commend about this record? Absolutely. The production is lavish. It's very pretty. You can tell that a lot of time was put into making sure that this record sounded balanced and equalized in pretty much every way it can. In terms of audibility of everything, in terms of how the instrumentals come together, regardless of the material, I think they did a fantastic job of stringing this together and mixing this record in a way that just sounds good. They all sound theatrical, they all sound big budget and well made. You could see a lot of these tracks being used in like a blockbuster trailer or any host of like a John Williams OST. Very epic, very big, and even the more subdued and somber moments are still performed in such a way that the mixing just boosts it up to give it such a gargantuan feel, or does a great job of layering things like reverb and space in a composition to give it the big atmospheric feel that a lot of progressive metal dwells in. Haken also just have a way of sounding pleasing to the ears. Even if you're not that invested musically in the creative ideas, you can't deny the fact that it just sounds good. The riffs just sound sweet to the ears. The riffs have a smooth way of passing from ear to ear and leading a composition, whether it is going for something more heavy or whether it's going for a more paced, slow burn approach. It's always crisp, it's always intricate, I will absolutely give it that. On its own, I don't think that this is going to be one of my favorite records of the year, but as a progressive metal fan and as someone who listens to a lot of just wankfest progressive metal and metalcore that I think could be a lot more original, Haken is far from the worst thing that you're going to hear this year, and in fact, I do feel better than above average on it. It's a well-made, well-produced, just well-mixed prog record, and even if it's not reinventing the wheel, a lot of the ideas here still come off in a way that you can tell they put a lot into them. And even if it may not hold up on repeated listens and certain tracks are definitely skips, I think that overall it is a well-made progressive metal record, even if it's not my cup of tea at many points. For me personally, I'm going to be giving this album a 6 out of 10. And that is a wrap. Have you heard this new Haken record, Fauna? If you have, let me know in the comment section below what you thought about it. I would love to discuss this record with you. Be sure to like this video if you enjoyed it, subscribe to join the review family today, and smash that notification bell to be notified of my future uploads. You know who it is. My name is Jay Morris, and I'm signing off.